Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from Art Alien TV. Got a real nice short one for you today. I'll keep this one short. This is really cool. Now, before I even start with this, credit must be given to John Ward, South African researcher, does some great videos. Check out his channel. There will be a link to this video in the description below and a link to his channel, okay? Or just click on the link and it will take you to the video and you can subscribe. I always watch this guy's videos because he's right on the ball. He does some great satellite work with Mars images, but he also does some really cool stuff on the ground as well. And he probably spotted this about the same time as I did today, earlier on today. But I've been busy with these images of this, which is a doorway, right, or entrance. And I spotted this morning, but I've been very busy putting this together, which is a gig pan of all the images from this set, okay? Here's the set of images. It's Sol 3466. Unfortunately not in colour, but I will show you some colour enhanced clips of this as well in a minute, okay? And we have this ridge. Now this is at Mount Sharp, which I've shown 100 times before. This particular area is a bit further along to the left of where we were in previous videos. The rover's gradually moving along the base of Mount Sharp and then zooming the camera in to some of these ridge lines and features at the base of Mount Sharp. And here we have the doorway, just here. Okay, there it is. Now this image has been brightened up, but it's basically as it is. You can actually see the images here are black and white, and they're a little bit grungy, but they're not too bad. The lighting isn't brilliant on this day. Sometimes the mountain's lit up really well. It depends on what time of day the images are taken and on the conditions, but this is really clear. Well, at least it's clear enough anyway. And what's really weird about it is when you look at it really closely, there's something inside the door. Now we've got like a pathway coming down here, and it seems like there's a sort of worn path coming along here. So you'd be able to walk up this kind of slope here from down here and then walk up to this doorway, and there's an entrance with like a little kind of angled part coming out here, right? And it's perfectly cut inside. You can see the edges are really straight. We've got a perfectly straight edge there. We've got a slight curve here, and we have what looks like stonework that's been just cut straight into the rock. I mean, this may not be. Now, as I've said before, I think a lot of this stuff isn't actually just natural rock. I think a lot of it is concrete. Because over here, we've got this other straight, perfectly straight piece here coming down. You can see this line, it starts up here, comes down here to here, almost as if this was constructed in sections. So it may not be completely natural. This may not just be the side of a mountain, as I've said before. And this is pretty close to all those chambers that I showed in the previous video. I'll link to that in a minute, and I'll put a clip or two of that in as well. The burial chambers are literally only about 50 meters away from this particular doorway. It's in the same area as a lot of other similar things that I've shown. And there's all sorts of crazy things on the ground. There's ruined structures in the ground, walls, doorways. This is one of the better ones that I've seen. In fact, this is probably one of the best ones we've seen in this crater so far, I would say. It's really good. So credit to John Ward for getting this up before me. The problem is when you do gigapans, you spend so long doing the gigapans, often you end up falling behind a little bit. But what's cool about this one is you can zoom right in and there's something inside it. And we've got a nice straight edge there, and it looks very smooth here. We've got a crack here, and you can see the angle going in, and there's a round black thing. Now, I'm not going to call it an object because I don't know what it is. But if I show with the magnifier, just here, there's a round thing with what seems to have two light parts on it that look a bit like eyes or something. Now, I'm not saying they are eyes, but there's something there, and there's something below it as well, right? Let's show that again. So we've got a round object there, and there's something below it here. So this could be a burial figurine or something. I'm guessing that this may actually be an entrance to a tomb. And this corresponds exactly with some of the things that I said in those videos about the chambers and rooms recently, okay? So I do recommend you check those links out that I showed, okay? There'll be links at the end of the video, and there'll also be in the description links to this Gigapan and everything else that I'm showing you as well, and all the images, okay? So the point is, there's something in there. It's not just a doorway. So what I've done is I've got some close-ups here, and I've given one a blue filter, which really makes the detail stand out. Let's have a look at this one first. Now, this has been brightened up even more than that Gigapan, and you can clearly see that there's something in there, right? Just here. We've got, let's go back a little bit, there we are. We've got a round thing here with 2 points, what looks a bit like an eye there and an eye there, like a cat or something. And there's an object attached to it here with a join there and a join there, right? So if I get rid of that, you should be able to see that. If I go back a little bit, you can see it there, right? So we've got those two bright eye-like things. We've got 2 points at the top. We've got a dark, I'm calling it a head. I don't know if it is. I'm just going to call it that because it looks a bit like one. But this may actually be a burial figurine. Now, as I've shown before, probably 100 times, that many of these chambers and exposed burials that we see on Mars, and Gale Crater especially, have figurines inside them, or burial masks, or skulls, or some of them even have like they'll have a big sort of object in front with a face carved on it, which would have been rolled in front of the chamber entrance. Okay. And you can see that in one of my previous videos where we got these square chambers, a row of them, and they've got like a little ledge where you can actually see where there would have been like a little door which would have rolled in front and then rolled back again. Okay? Very much like ones we have on Earth. Now look at this one. Now this has been brightened up a bit more, and I put a blue filter on it. And the blue filter really helps with the contrasting images like this, because it really makes things stand out more sometimes. And you can see that thing pretty clearly. There's something in there. You can see that the top part coming in like that, that's angled, it's curved at the top. You've got this edge here, and this edge here, and there's a round thing. Now, that seems to be the back. Or there's something like a little doorway or some kind of object inside looking out. All right? You've got the angle here going back. This is a crack, so this angle goes back like that, right? And then we've got the curve and the edges there. And you can see this thing pretty clearly when you add the blue filter. You've got to really brighten it up to see it, of course, because it's in shadow, as it would be, right? Inside a door. I mean, there you can see it. And where I've cranked it up, you can actually see those, what look like two eyes. Now, is it possible that's a figurine? I think it is. I have shown, just in Gale Crater, not even including dozens I've shown in Jezero Crater, where the new rover is, just in Gale Crater alone, in the last sort of 9 years, since I've been doing my channel, I've shown probably over 200 figurines, statues, and things like that, and chambers and things like that, burial chambers and things like that, over 200 so far. And they often have something inside, like a mask or a head or something in front, or they have a skull or bones nearby or inside. But this one is the most intact and the best, so one of the best so far, I would say, since the rover has landed on Mars. This is an excellent example. Now, how tall is this? Not very tall. Let's look on the Gigapan. I would say this is probably only about 1.5, 2 feet. It may be 3, but it's probably 1.5 or 2 feet, I would say. It's hard to say because we don't know how far the camera has zoomed in. But when we come back here, now the rover is obviously down here, and it zoomed the camera in, and it's quite good focus. So I would say we're not that far away. Because if you look at the detail here at the bottom, now this is concrete, a lot of this. You can actually see the internal concrete and the outer layer here. So we've got 2 layers of construction here. It's got like a render on it, okay? So we've got an outer layer and an inner layer. And there's some good detail here. So I would say it's not that far away. I would say that this bottom part here is probably less than 20 feet away from the rover, probably about 15. And this is probably more like 25 feet away. So yeah, this is no more than a couple of feet, I would say. So there we have it. And you can, even in this, which has only been brightened up a bit, by about 20%, it says here how much I've brightened it. 25%, which is not that much, okay? And a bit of contrast. That's all I've done to it, nothing else. And you can see that even in this, which isn't as bright as it could be, and if you get the magnifying glass or hover zoom magnifier like I use, you can see that round thing with what look like 2 eyes and something below it there. This is just like something you would see in South America or Central America, or perhaps in Egypt or somewhere like that, or ancient Greece or ancient Rome. It's absolutely amazing. Look at the symmetry we have here. A rectangular door with a sort of angled part coming out there. All right. So there was probably, this thing here may have actually been the actual door. So there would have been a kind of stone door or slab in front of this, I would imagine, which could just be slid or sort of tilted to one side. And this may be it here, just here. That may have gone over it. What else could this possibly be other than a chamber or an entrance to the inside of Mount Sharp? An actual entrance. It's not very big, but like I said before, a lot of the actual people on Mars, some were very tall, some were our size, some were only 2 foot or less. So that would kind of add up that this is only about 2 foot tall, because a lot of the Martians, in Gale Crater at least, were only about that size. So that kind of fits with what I and many other researchers have found. So this is awesome. Let's have a look at those close-up clips again. I've got some colour ones I'll show you as well, actually. Let's flick through some. I did a colour one here, where I've colorised it. This is approximately what the colour is of the rock, which is this kind of browny sort of colour. But when you add the brown, you can't see that inside very well. It kind of obfuscates the actual details inside. So there we are. That's what we have. We have an entrance or door going into what is probably another burial chamber, or perhaps even some kind of complex inside. Who knows? There could be a complex in here. There's the close-up. I mean, look at it. What else could it possibly be? There'll be a link to this video. Check him out. He does videos every couple of days, and is a dedicated researcher. And like me, works very hard for not much reward. So go along and sub his channel, because he puts out some really good stuff, and he's a nice chap as well. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you soon.